I'm Reen Schwarzer, and you're listening to the Giant Sword Podcast. Microphones, activate!
Hello, and welcome to this week's Giant Sword Podcast. I'm your party leader, Nick. Joining me, as always, is Taylor. Taylor, how are you?
I'm good. I'm tired. I'm ready for the weekend.
I am also tired, and I don't have a weekend, so I'm going to be tired forever. Ain't that great?
Forever tired.
Forever tired. Doesn't help that I got sick last week, and now I'm just forever tired.
Did you get the COVIDs?
I don't know. Probably. Everyone else at work got it, so let's take.
It seems to be going around. Omicron.
Let's just say that I got it because everyone else got it, and I don't get sick often, so I randomly got sick, so I got it. And I was tired. That's how I was sick. Tired and sore. And then afterwards, I was just tired all the time. I would get tired really easily. And that is why we didn't do a podcast last week. Because I was tired and didn't want to do anything. And then Taylor was like, "Oh, I'm busy. I got to make all my YouTube videos all in one day." It's like, okay, I guess we're not going to do a podcast. That episode that you work on actually didn't come out yet.
No, the thumbnails I was so
you worked on 3 videos.
No, well, kind of. So one came out. One was supposed to be a sponsor video, but I just couldn't finish it in time, so I don't think it's happening. I messaged the person. I was like, "Hey, so here's the ad read for your approval," and it's been like 2 days, and they haven't gotten back to me. I'm like, okay, I guess that's not happening. So to me, that's okay to me because I don't have to rush to finish a video. Now I can take my time.
Now you're like, well, okay, oh well. All that work is wasted now.
Yeah, I did stay up really late to finish the ad read thing, but then all for nothing. But that's okay.
It happens. It happens. It's fine.
Happens to the best of us.
Okay. A lot of, not a lot of, but a huge game industry changing news happened.
Yeah.
I'm like, what the heck, dude? What the heck? So let's, even though it has nothing to really do with JRPGs, Microsoft plans to buy Activision-Blizzard. What are your thoughts on that, Taylor?
I don't like what the game that Microsoft is playing with, like, oh, okay, we're losing. Well, fine, we'll just buy this, and we'll buy this, and we'll just win by default. And it's like, okay, we get that you want everybody to get on Game Pass and all this stuff. Yeah, they're starting to, I think if they keep doing this, I mean, I don't know, that's the biggest publisher right now. I mean, literally, that was the biggest publisher. They bought the biggest publisher. So I was about to say if they do it again, but I'm like, who else would they buy, you know?
If they bought someone like Capcom or Square Enix, then you're like, okay, it is time to break this company up. It is ridiculous.
Yeah, and it's funny that you say it doesn't really matter because, like, you know, I saw that and I'm like, when was the last Activision game I bought? Like the Tony Hawk and the Crash Bandicoot collection, and that sucks that those might be exclusive going forward. But it's like, that's okay. Like, to me, I don't want to lose anything from Square Enix, anything from Capcom, anything from Sega / Atlas, and
by losing,
those are all.
By losing, you mean not being able to play it on PlayStation. That's
yeah. And because I don't own an Xbox console. I don't actually have really any problem with Xbox, but their exclusives don't appeal to me, and they never have Japanese games. So to me, that's just 2 strikes, you're out. So with Sony, it's like, okay, we'll just keep starting studios from the ground up. We'll put out really high quality exclusives. We'll keep having all the big Japanese games be exclusive. You know, Persona is a de facto exclusive. Final Fantasy, they're just buying exclusive rights. Street Fighter. We don't know.
We don't know what Street Fighter 6 is gonna do, but
true. 5 was though.
We'll see. Yeah, 5 was. Well,
what are your thoughts?
Well, I mainly game on PC now, so it doesn't really affect me at all.
Sure,
But
yeah.
it's kind of annoying because it's like I had the exact same thoughts. It's like stop buying your way into relevancy. Like I get it, like
Yeah.
I could totally see you just doing like, hey, we'll pay for some partnerships, like so make some games for us. Do that. Do some second party, get some second party teams. You know, like they'd like or do third party exclusives. Don't just
Yeah.
say this is all mine. You could only have it on PC and Xbox now. But then
Yeah.
again, Activision was kind of falling apart. So
Yeah.
they're like, I think now it's time to take that away.
Time to well, I bet you all the stakeholders and Bobby Kotick and all the people that are like in a bad situation, like, great, we get a huge buyout, and then in a year, peace out, we're gone, we're done. So I'm sure for them, this is a great way to just wipe their hands of the situation.
Yeah.
But
We'll see what Microsoft does. Maybe Microsoft acts like good guy Microsoft and says, "Hey, we own this company, but it's still these games are going to be out on PlayStation."
we'll see. I mean, they Phil Spencer, who is the head of Xbox or whatever, or Microsoft Gaming or whatever it's called now, he did say today that they called Sony and they said, one, they will continue their contractual obligations, whatever those are, and Call of Duty will not be an exclusive. Again, it doesn't really matter to us, but because that is like the biggest franchise. Like that's the best selling game on PlayStation every year. So
Can you imagine Microsoft? Oh, we're buying Epic now. Like, stop.
yeah,
Stop.
you know, Epic is like one of those companies that's so big that I don't even think they would. There'd be no reason for them to do it because they're almost their own platform. That'd be like
Now,
them trying to buy Steam because they have the Epic Game Store and stuff. You know?
now, yeah. So sad thing is Epic has Fortnite, which is making them tons of moolah, and so they could dedicate that moolah for Fortnite and building up the Epic Game Store. And I know a lot of people are like, Epic Game Store, bruh. It's actually very popular now, and it's actually making them money. So Steam now has a competitor, and I think that's what Epic's going to focus on. Even though they should make a new Unreal Tournament, but you know, I'm never going to get that ever again. It's like waiting for
all the money.
It's like waiting for Half-Life 3. It's just never going to happen. Sadly.
Yep.
I'm sad.
Yeah. No, I hear you.
But Taylor, you are actually wrong about Sony getting all the big exclusive JRPG stuff. It looks like Microsoft is going to start trying to bring those Japanese developers over.
Oh, what makes you say that?
Because they're starting, they're starting to reveal, or they've been starting to reveal big JRPG stuff or big Japanese games on their conferences. Of course, Sony is not going to let them have Persona. Not going to let them have
Final
Fantasy.
Yeah.
But other stuff is going over there.
You know what I would be really interested in seeing? So you're right. They did reveal a lot of these JRPGs like Scarlet Nexus and Tales of Arise at the Microsoft conference. I wonder if those games sold better on PlayStation. I genuinely don't know.
I bet
curious.
you they did.
I know Scarlet Nexus was on Game Pass. So
that's another reason why they're doing this all by all these companies, because
that's the only reason they're
trying to make their Game Pass thing like huge. And I don't know how I don't know how Game Pass is even profitable for developers. I just don't get it.
I don't either. I don't even know how it's profitable for Microsoft. They've got to be losing money hand over fist to get games on that thing, and to have their first party games release on that thing. I don't get it, because like they just dropped 68 billion to buy Activision-Blizzard, and now like that's going to take them decades to. I mean, they're probably going to make their money back pretty quickly, but like if the end game is Game Pass, it's going to take forever for that thing to break even. So. And there's rumors that Sony is doing their own thing. It's called Project Spartacus. And And recently, UK retailers were asked to pull PlayStation Now cards. So people are starting to, there's rumblings that they're going to reveal whatever the competitor Game Pass, they're going to reveal it soon. But who knows?
How are they gonna compete? There's no way for them to compete unless
Oh,
they
yeah, no, they can't for
yeah
sure.
unless they get third party developers on there. I mean, I don't think it's gonna happen. It's gonna be all PlayStation exclusives, and maybe if Sony was smart, they would start bringing out their classic games, their PS1 and PS2 and PS3 games. It's money on the table. I mean, I don't know why they aren't doing it.
And the ultimate irony in that statement is that Crash Bandicoot, once a PlayStation exclusive, is now owned by Xbox, which is hilarious.
Okay, Crash Bandicoot was owned by Universal, and that's when, yeah,
And then Activision bought them.
the first three Crash Bandicoots were Sony exclusive.
Yep.
But
The only ones that matter.
well, there's some good ones out there.
I heard 4 is good. It's just really hard.
Yeah, I have it. It's fun. It feels like a classic Crash Bandicoot game.
Nice.
But I am not in the mood. I want to. I should just, settle down. Hunker down, saddle up, and play some old Crash Bandicoot games just for the fun of it.
Mm.
Instead of playing 7 Days to Die. I beat Persona 4, and I was like, I'm done for a while. And then I started just messing around with a bunch of Tales games.
I saw that you were streaming Tales of Destiny or something.
I mean, I've been playing Tales of Destiny. I messed around with Tales of Abyss. I messed around with Tales of Symphonia. I messed around with just all these games that I own, and I was just playing around with them, just getting feels for them.
Nice.
But let's move on to the actual topic of the day.
All right.
What non-JRPG franchise would make a good JRPG?
Yeah.
I have a idea in mind. But first I want you to think of one, if you can.
Yeah. I've been trying to, because I knew this was gonna be the topic. I've been trying to think of one, and I don't necessarily have a great answer, off the top of my head. Because do you have one in mind or any?
I do have one in mind, yeah.
Okay.
It's
You go and I'll try to think as you.
It is a big wish, never gonna happen. Maybe it needs to be developed more in my head, but I could totally see. And this kind of genre never is made. A Silent Hill JRPG.
Interesting. Go on.
Just
Turn-based combat, or like how would it work?
That's one thing I was thinking about. Would it follow the route of a maybe Final Fantasy VII remake or turn-based? Because Silent Hill is all about avoiding combat.
Yeah.
But you do run into it. So what would you do about that?
That's a good question. Oh, I got a good one. Street Fighter. Because all I'm thinking, the reason I say that is I'm trying to think of a game or a series that has like a good roster of characters that could be used as a party. I think Street Fighter would be perfect because they all have move sets. Yeah, I think that would be, and then obviously and Bison and company would be the villains, and like Ryu and Ken, and you're recruiting people like Chun-Li along the way. And
Okay, what kind of JRPG would it be?
it'd be you have to be turn-based, yeah.
Turn-based
Gotta
or
be.
strategy?
See, I was thinking strategy, but we already have Project Cross Zone that has some Street Fighter characters. So I'm thinking just regular old turn-based. Like I think 4 party members would be cool, but then the roster is like big. Because considering how many Street Fighter characters there are now. Like, I mean, that catalog runs deep.
So what would
I think Street Fighter would be great.
And the battle system is you have to stun. You want to stun your enemies, and then you can get big damage from your stuns. So you do. Would you use
or
it like,
combos somehow?
Yeah,
maybe like I don't know how you.
Would you save up active time battle stuff, ATV, and create combos with your characters? So you create long combos, which then adds to their stun. And once they stun, you could do like a super move.
I kind of like that idea. Or think maybe even do it like how Xenogears had it, where you can like pick 3 moves or something.
That's what I was thinking.
What I mean?
So like you start off doing like, okay, you could do a chain combo of 3, right? So you do like a punch, and then a special into another punch, all right? And then once you level up, like when doing that, you gain EX meter, and you could do EX moves to power them up. And then and then if you save up your EX meter, you could do like an ultimate move, kind of like the CP meter for Trails games.
Mm-hmm. Interesting.
Just do combos to break to. Just do combos to try to break enemies. I know there's some. I'm thinking that there's a game that does this already. And I'm trying to figure out how. Maybe it's the which one? The Robot Wars game. What are they called?
Super Robot Wars, yeah.
I think they do that. I mean, even Project Cross Zone does that.
I don't know if this is the same thing, but Octopath Traveler sort of has that. Like if you hit the weakness enough times, it like breaks their shield and they're like more vulnerable or something.
Yeah. I mean, that's what I was thinking of, but I was trying to make it into a more Street Fighter savvy, because if you do enough combo damage, or if you do enough damage in a row, you stun them and they get stunned and they can't do anything. So I could see that. I like your idea, Taylor.
Yep, I think because obviously, like what makes a good JRPG, like a good world, good set of characters, good music. Obviously, Street Fighter's got some good music.
See, I'm for the Silent Hill JRPG, I'm thinking about atmosphere, and I'm just thinking about the atmosphere that Final Fantasy VII had back in the day. Like what you saw when you walked around in the world. Like I recently tried out the PS1 Final Fantasy VII. Oh boy, that is hard to go back to sometimes.
Really?
Yeah. It's like I don't mind it. It's just like whew, after seeing this and the glory that is the remake.
It's different. It's definitely different.
It's really funny. But yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Like very atmospheric, story heavy. Because I want like a story heavy psychological horror JRPG. That'd be really cool. And it's like a linear story. You could explore Silent Hill as in your party, which is just gonna be random, like people that you find, because there's characters that you find in Silent Hill, but there's not many. But it would be cool to have them in your party.
Totally. Yep.
Totally. And you see the monsters. So if you have to fight the monsters, you fight them, and you maybe go into a battle screen.
It's got a swirl.
I kind of want to. I want to see a battle system that kind of merges the swirl and like the cinematic camera that spins around the character that makes it seem like it's all real time. You know what I'm talking about? So you go into a battle, right? And you're in the open world and you touch the enemy and you go into battle, and like the camera spins around and goes into the battle mode. But it also loads in the battle arena, so it like changes the look as well. But I want to make it kind of look seamless. It's kind of hard to explain, but
I mean, Tales of Hysteria kind of did that.
No, I know, but they had problems because it used the geometry of the world map. So you could have battles where there's like I've had this happen in Burst area actually, where the battle area was in the middle of like a cliff, and there's no jumping in Tales in Burst area, not high enough.
Yeah.
And so my party was down here, and the enemies were right here, and we couldn't fight.
Oops.
Like I don't think you saw it. It was like up here the enemies, and down here were my characters, and you couldn't fight, and I was stuck. I'm like, well, I guess I'll have to run away.
That's hilarious. Oh, that's funny.
So that's why in Tales of Arise they got rid of that, because they found out that it doesn't really work well.
Hmm.
Man,
Yep.
I really want that Street Fighter. It would be
I know that.
It would be corny as hell. I would like it to be, kind of corny. Would you want to be like a corny story as well, or would you want it to be serious? Because having it serious is kind of weird with the Street Fighter characters.
Yeah, I mean, I think Street Fighter is a pretty tongue-in-cheek franchise. Like, it's kind of goofy, so I think it'd have to be goofy a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think it could be silly, but yeah, I just think there's such great potential, like especially with equipment. Like, how many different costumes have there been for all these characters over the years? You can get different costumes. There's so many characters, so many stages. I mean, yeah, I think Street Fighter's got a lot of potential.
And a lot of people are going to be asking, what do you mean by JRPG? And I'm like, that's a topic for another episode. It's hard to... JRPG means a lot of things to a lot of people. But I know that everyone has a very similar picture in their mind when they think about a JRPG. Which is what, Taylor? What's that picture? When you think of a JRPG, what do you think of?
Like a Super Nintendo style 16-bit sprite turn-based game. That's what immediately comes to mind. But it's so funny. I actually had a comment on one of my videos recently, and they said turn-based is not JRPG. I'm like, what? People say like the opposite. Like, JRPGs can only be turn-based. So people clearly have their own interpretations or whatever.
What does he mean? What does that person mean?
I know. I don't get it.
I mean, yeah, Tales isn't turn-based, but
it's still a JRPG. Like, you're out of your mind if you don't think Tales is a JRPG.
there's back in the day, it was world map, linear story, a group of characters, and random battles.
And you have to kill God.
And you usually have to kill a god. I was playing Persona 4 and I realized just how simple the game is. Very simple. Because you just walk around, like in your off days, which are a lot of off days, you walk around, talk to someone, or eat a bowl of rice to gain, or do a job, and you just do that constantly. And for some reason, you just get a little mini dopamine hit. You just want to constantly do that. And then you can just do the dungeon in like an hour on your first day when you first get introduced to the dungeon. You just do it really quick. And if you know how to play, by the way, some people will have trouble. But it's like, wow, this game actually has a very simple loop. But it's
addicting because there's so many little things. Yeah.
Like the social link stuff, it's so simple. I'm playing, I'm like, I just want more. I want more interactions, but
yeah,
it's fun. It's fine, guys.
It's fine.
Any other that come to mind? Because Silent Hill was like the big one. I would love to see a survival horror JRPG. I mean, it could even be. I mean, Parasite Eve was kind of this at first. It was like a Resident Evil JRPG, but.
It's like half and half. Yeah. I know there's one of these sort of coming out this year, but I would love a Marvel strategy RPG. And I know that they're making one, but it's like
Yeah, I think there is.
card based or something weird. And so I'm like, nope, I'm out. I just want to straight up like everybody's got abilities, grid based map, even sprites would be like super sick,
Sprites are always good. The thing is, sprites are usually timeless. Like if you play old games and they're sprite based, they usually like age a lot better.
Yeah.
Yeah. So playing like the sprite based RPGs on PS1 and then play a, Legend of Legaia or Final Fantasy 7, you're like, holy crap, this is aged. Graphically, this is aged awful. But the game's still fun.
Yep.
Graphically, Breath of Fire 3 and 4, timeless. They look great now.
Oh yeah.
Ugh.
Very cool.
Very cool. I was just thinking when you're talking about strategy. Have you ever played a strategy game that it was a card based as well? Like your actions are based of your deck.
Sort of. So there was a game that I reviewed, not last year. I think it was the year before.
It wasn't Fate Tactics, was it?
Yeah, it was Fate Tactics, and that has cards in it. Yeah, good call. But yeah, that has like a rotating card thing in it.
I like that. I like that system. I've played. Do you remember or ever heard of Metal Gear Acid?
I have. I don't know anything about it though. I just know it has something to do with cards.
Yeah, it's a strategy card based tactical game. It's fun. I enjoyed it a lot when I played it.
Nice.
It was addicting, and I was like, oh, I like this system. These build cards, like they create a system where you have different characters, and the way you customize them is customizing their deck, and that would be cool. I think that would be cool. Like every character has a different deck, and based off their job.
Yep.
Someone make it. I can't do it.
Somebody can do it.
Someone could do it. Alrighty then. Let's do some questions, dude.
All right, let's do it. Let's make it happen.
All right, so Nova Chaser asks, has a game's presence on PC ever played a factor in whether you buy a physical copy? I'd personally love a shelf full of JRPG goodness, but I know some people don't have the space.
Has its presence on PC ever made you want to buy a physical version? I guess I don't really understand the question.
No, ever played a factor in whether you buy a physical copy? So,
No.
would you want to buy? Would you rather buy a PC version to have the the convenience of having it digitally, or would you go for a physical copy, just so you could have the physical copy?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not really a PC gamer, so
you're all physical.
I'm not real. Well,
except for the Switch.
And that, but then. And this is gonna sound whatever, but last year I actually I went on my PlayStation account. I only bought one game last year because most of everything else that I played I got review codes for, which are always digital. They never send physical copies anymore. So, but I bought a couple physical games recently. So, yeah, I don't know. I kind of go back and forth, but PC has nothing to do with it. Yeah.
I've been buying a lot of PC games digitally recently, and that's because I don't have any room. If I had my own place, I would totally just have a room dedicated to all my games and everything. Have an office, and I'm not at that stage of my life right now, so I have stopped buying physical. Like I would love to have a physical copy of Final Fantasy 7 Remake. And I already have Tales of Rise. There was one more game that just was on the top of my head and I forgot. And Persona 4 Royal, Persona 5 Royal. I don't want that physically. So I want to physically own the thing, because there's gonna be a time where you're not gonna be able to re-download your games that you own digitally.
Hmm.
And I know in the future you're going to be able to rip those games off the discs. So, the games I enjoy, I would like to physically. I know a lot of people on Discord like them physically, like even the downloadable indie games physically. They talk about buying limited run games all the time.
Hmm.
Would you buy limited run games?
I would. I just don't know. Most of the games I would want to buy have physical copies. Usually. Yeah, this is sort of a bad question for me because I feel bad that I don't really have a good answer, but
I'm gonna put you on the spot. All right.
okay.
All right. So you have review codes, right?
Yeah.
Would you, if you really enjoyed the game, buy a physical copy?
Mm,
This to support.
that's a good question. Um I think last year when I wasn't making as much money, I would probably have said no. I would just have been happy to have the game. But this year, our business is doing a little bit better. Um, if the price was right, I would probably say yes. Like one game, I didn't get this as a review code. I actually bought it myself digitally, but I just want to own it physically anyway. Is Soccer Wars? I just think that cover art's gorgeous. Um, I really love that game. I really want to support it. So I would say, yeah, sure, why not? Say yes to that.
Yeah. Good. But of course, you don't need to buy it right away. You find it on sale physically. You buy it on
Yeah,
sale.
cheap. Yep.
Cheap. He also asks, has a game's present? Oh wait, I already read that. Did I just do that twice? I did on accident.
You dude, how dare you?
Oops. There's another one that I want to do, but Proletariat asks, I just finished Atelier Ryza, my first experience with the Atelier series, and it took me just about 30 hours until I finally got comfortable with all the systems in the game. What's the longest you stuck with a game before finally getting it?
Ooh, that's a great question.
Let me grab back real quick.
Okay. Think while you're away.
Okay, I'm back.
No, that was quick.
I was just grabbing my phone because I want to see which one I accidentally duplicated. Which question?
Yeah. I'm trying to think if there's ever a game where I at first I really didn't like it, and then after a while I was like, oh, now I get it. Because usually right away I know if I'm not gonna like it. And there have been games where I stuck it out anyway and I still hated it. So man, I'm trying to think. I know this is JRPG, but um this is kind of a funky answer. I would say Final Fantasy Tactics because I think you might remember this, but when I first got the game when it first came out, I remember playing the very first battle, and I didn't know you could add extra characters, and I was just trying to beat that first level with just Ramza and Delita. I'm like, this is impossible. This game is so hard. and then I called a buddy and he helped me figure that part out.
It's like
But then,
just press R1, dude. Huh?
right. And even then, I don't think I beat it till much later. So I would say Tactics, and this is not really a JRPG. It kind of is, kind of isn't. I would say Bloodborne. I beat that when I bought it, but on my second playthrough, I got way more into it, and I totally understood the mechanics and everything, and I like appreciated it on like a whole new level. So I would probably say Bloodborne and Final Fantasy Tactics.
I was gonna say Final Fantasy Tactics because I'm pretty sure we didn't even get the game when we beat it, right? We probably sucked so bad at that game, but we
stumbled our way through the
it,
game, yeah.
until we actually started, we actually started learning how to actually do the stuff and break the damn game. But is that it? Or is that really fair? Bro, is that really fair? Because we're kids and we won't get we usually don't get stuff and we stick with it. Because I think I could say we did that with every JRPG as kids. Not now.
Yeah, probably.
I think I still do it now too. Sometimes I just find a way to play the game and never go delve deep into its, extra stuff, into its systems, because I'm like, I'm comfortable with what I'm doing. And then I realize, like, oh, you could do this? Man, I'm an idiot for not trying to do this.
I feel like there's another game like that you just said. Like, there's a mechanic that I wasn't utilizing to its full potential or something. But I doesn't come to mind right now.
Social links.
Social links. I don't know. Yeah.
Fusing. Okay, I found the question.
The missing question.
It is from Ned993. Are there any JRPGs / games in general you outright skipped because of the characters' designs or art direction? I don't know if we've already done this one.
Ooh.
Sounds familiar, but Let's just do it anyway.
Yeah, I do that all the time. Well, not all the time, but I've definitely done it. Graphics go a long way for me. So here's one. Especially now, yeah. So there is a game that's been recommended to me a lot. Speaking of Final Fantasy Tactics, it's called Felseal Arbiter's Mark, and it's a strategy RPG. And apparently, it's awesome, especially if you like JRPGs. I can't stand the art style.
Is that the
to
one?
Me, it's so.
Is that the
ugly.
one with the very Western style art?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Can't do it. And in fact, what's funny is I would almost go way on the opposite end. If a game has a great art style, but I'm not having fun with it, I'm almost willing to give it more leeway because it looks nice. So yeah, definitely Felseal is a big one.
Also, if the game has an awesome intro and you can't speak its language or read its language, you would play it anyway.
Oh yeah.
What game was that you did that with? You've done that multiple times, but it was that.
Oh, X Troopers, yeah.
Yes, X Troopers, yeah.
Yeah. It was just that game was so simple in retrospect. It's just like a squad based third person shooter with like an anime art style. Technically, it's a Lost Planet game, but yeah, that was an interesting game.
I remember way back in the day. Maybe it was 2010, 2011, or when the Vita was first coming out, and you're like, "Man, I imported this game. It's really interesting. It has a bunch of waifus. Something called like Senran Kagura. I don't know if we're ever gonna get it in the West." I'm like,
and
now look at it.
We've never stopped. Yep.
Was that because of a review, or did you just import that just because it had big booby chicks?
That probably didn't hurt, but it definitely wasn't for a review. I think it came up somewhere, and I was like, "Oh, this is interesting."
Because it was definitely an import.
Yes, yeah, I definitely imported it. Yeah, that was my heyday of importing. I remember I imported Ni no Kuni, X Troopers. I think there might have been one or two more games, but we get everything now. Like nothing. There are very few games that we never get. There's some small niche publisher that will eventually nab it up if somebody doesn't grab it.
There's no games that we ever get. Try being a Tales fan, Taylor.
Oh my gosh. Well, they have said that like, that they would consider remasters and stuff, especially after how well Arise sold. So.
Hopefully that means we'll get the Tales of Zestiria R, which is this and at Tales of Zestiria how it was supposed to be and not a rushed mess. And people are saying they want a Tales of the Abyss HD. I would rather have the games the West didn't get localized. That would be awesome.
No, I agree. That would be better to prioritize that.
Maybe actually get a port of Tales of Fantasia that's actually, worth playing and not a Game Boy Advance port that's broken. So.
Sure. Yeah.
Oh, wait, go.
What about you? I don't know if you gave an answer.
I didn't give an answer. Have I? Well, not really. Not JRPGs or anything that's really like on my radar. But whenever I see a game that's announced and it has that very bland color, oh man, it's hard to explain what I'm talking about. It's every indie game that's always a person running around a world or running to the right has
Mhm.
that bland color where it's just like like it's 3D and it looks like it hasn't been textured
Uh,
yet and it's just a bunch of colors. And I'm like,
like Inside, like something like that.
inside, there's so many of them, but I call it
I think I know what you're
like
talking about, though.
like the Limbo clones and stuff like that.
Yeah, Limbo. Yeah. Yep.
And but it's just like it's oh my god. Okay, think a blander looking Breath of the Wild, those type of games.
Mm.
You know what I'm talking about, though. There's always indie titles, and they always had that stupid art style. And I'm like, I hate this art style, and it instantly turns me off to the game. Even if the game looks interesting, it's just like, ugh. Take some time, hire some artists, do a better art style. I know it's cheap to do it that way, and you think you're all original, but everyone does it now. Stop.
Stop it.
Stop.
Get some help.
Yeah. I wouldn't even mind if you did the stupid, cartoony look of Fortnite, like that fighting game. I've got Rumbleverse. They have that. They have that Fortnite look. That looks fun. That game looks actually fun, even though it has that cartoony look. But that's oh my god, that indie look that I hate so much. Ugh, it's so gross.
That's so funny. Another one I would say, and I got a remake / remaster and it fixed this, but Xenoblade Chronicles. Like every time I look at that game, I'm like, man, that is hideous on Xbox, on Wii. But with the Switch remaster, it looks better, and I'm like, okay, I can actually tolerate this.
Because of the resolution, everything all looked muddled.
Well, not even that. The faces looked horrible. They fixed the faces.
I'm trying to remember.
Oh, dude, you don't remember the bad looking faces?
Well, it didn't. The faces didn't really bother me. It was like a unique style that I was like, okay, it looks odd, but it's not bad.
It was bad.
Did they animate make it more anime in the remake?
Yeah, they made it look more like Xenoblade 2.
Okay, yeah, Xenoblade 2. I'm like, not X, right? Not the punched in face.
Yeah, that one looks bad too.
Yeah. Ugly characters. Ugly characters. If the characters are extremely ugly, guys and gals, it's hard for me to play them. They have to be appealing. The characters have to be appealing, and if the characters have Tumblr art proportions, then it's like, no, done. Get out of here.
Tumblr art proportions.
And everyone knows what I mean when I say that.
Yep.
Okay, so next question. Hookah Leconque asks, have you ever played a JRPG that had a story that was so complex that when you finished it, it felt like that most of the story went completely over your head? For me, that was Xenogears.
That's an interesting answer. I haven't beat Xenogears, so I don't have a good answer for that.
I mean, that's what Connor used to always say. It's like, just play Xenogears. I know the story's going to go all over the place and you're probably not going to get it, but play. It's a great game.
I mean, two recent ones come to mind for me. One is Scarlet Nexus. By the end of the game, I'm like, I have no idea what this game is even about anymore, but the gameplay is fun.
Are you going to say Tales of Arise next?
Yes. Yes.
I don't think it went completely. I don't think it went over my head. I think it was just like, okay, this game just jumped the shark.
I will say that Tales of Arise is less convoluted, but it does get into that bad habit of making up jargon. And I'm like, just stop with the jargon. Just reel it back a little bit. That's God, Bandai Namco, man. They're really bad with their made up jargon.
The will of the planet. What?
I'm not even talking about the will of the planet. I'm talking about like Alphen, and then there's the girl that is like his protector, like all that stuff. I'm like, I can't even remember the words. That's how bad it is.
The maiden.
Yeah, that kind of crap. I'm like, I don't even know.
I think the reason why that I was like, because it kind of just they threw everything at you at once. They're like, here's this quadruple barreled shotgun of a story right in your face.
Yep.
That's what happened. And that's why everyone was kind of freaking out over the ending or the last part of Tales of Arise.
Yep.
But don't worry, guys. It's still a great game.
It is.
I'm not being facetious, and I'm not being sarcastic. I actually say it's a great game. It's a good game. It's fun.
Yeah.
It's just when you reach that story part where you get shot in the face with all the stories. Exposition. Yeah, I can't talk right now.
Exposition. Yeah.
When I played Xenogears, maybe because I was an adult when I played it, it didn't really. And I played a bunch of Xenoblade games. I think story didn't kind of go over my head.
Mhm.
But Xenogears definitely does the Tales of Arise, where everything just like they throw all the story at you on the second disc, which is why I called Tales of Arise the second part, the second disc of Xenogears, because the same thing happens.
Gotcha.
But it's the typical Xeno story, and I don't want to ruin the typical Xeno story, and everyone would know what I mean by the typical Xeno story. It's interesting though; it's fun. Oh, game. Cool. Did the story? Okay, think back without your knowledge. Like, if you could do this, think back to as a child. Did the story of Final Fantasy Tactics go over your head?
Yeah, a little bit for sure. Because I'm like, I knew they were trying to collect the stones, and they were stopping the stone. There was a lot of like political stuff that was like, I don't know what's happening.
Like, you gotta collect the stones. The stones are evil, so we just gotta kill the stones. And now we're in an area underneath the church. It's actually an airship graveyard, and kill the stones. Okay, that's good. But it's like way more deep than that.
Oh yeah, I mean, there's a lot more going on, but that's yeah,
interesting stuff. But other than that, I don't think any story has really gone over my head. I'm trying to think of others. Nope, nothing, Taylor. Nothing at all. Nothing. No. Run. Alrighty then. So that's gonna be the last question of the day. Yeah, Taylor, tell everyone where to find your awesome videos, because your growth is not stopping, and you're making fun videos for everyone.
Yeah, it's slowing down. It's not like exploding like it was. But yeah, no, I mean, you can find me at the Gaming Shelf on YouTube. Yeah, it's been a lot of lists so far, just because end of last year, beginning of this year, there hasn't been any games to review, but reviews will be coming maybe the next month or so. But yeah, so go check that out. There's lots of cool stuff that I've put out in the last couple of weeks.
You just sharted out a bunch of stuff. It was like after being busy with work, you just was bagoosh.
Well, yeah, it was like I was on holiday break, and I just had time to work on stuff. So I was like, all right, I'm just gonna make videos all day.
But you weren't spending time. You weren't spending time with your family on Christmas break. What's wrong with you?
I know. God.
You're just on your laptop like. Oh.
That's it. Just all day. I didn't talk to anybody.
All right. So thank you for listening, watching, and thank you for everyone who actually subscribed. We broke 100 or 1,000 subscribers. Woohoo!
Yeah.
And it was awesome. But yeah, we'll be back hopefully next week. See ya.
Bye.